sealer or clear seam sealer. And finally, he will replace the auxiliary weather strip. As an extra precaution, technicians may choose to seal the entire roof rail with a length of butyl tape and even add a bead of clear seam sealer inside the weather strip itself. Let's move to the trunk area. We know that nobody wants wet luggage or groceries. If there's a leak here, of course, the carpet will be wet. A trunk water leak sometimes shows up due to a flange mismatch at the weather strip area. If the metal mismatch causes the flange to be spread open, the trunk weather strip can appear to be correct. However, the flange is holding the weather strip open, allowing water to enter the rear compartment. Use a block of wood and a hammer to flatten that flange. Beginning with the start of production 1995, our flanges are being monitored even closer. If any discrepancies are found, the entire system is checked and reworked. Also, as of April 24, 1995, VIN number 422343, we started installing a weather strip with a foam adhesive inside. The part number is 10279816. This new weather strip can be used in place of the old style part. If the flange is bent downward and causes the weather strip to drop too low in the corners, we adjust that with this special Teflon fork tool. A technician must be very careful when adjusting the flange. Another area where leaks have been seen is in the TULIP panel. If a leak is found, reseal the body metal seam at the end of the TULIP panel with clear seam sealer. Using a clear sealer eliminates any need to paint. Since the start of 1995 build, we are applying patches in this area which has stopped potential leaks. While we are in that trunk area, I want to talk about the backlight water leaks. This is caused by a metal mismatch that leaves a gap or by a weld that causes the metal to have a ripple at the weld joint. The leak occurs because the backlight does not squeeze the sealant into the ripple, leaving a hole. This water leak is repaired by pumping urethane sealer right into the void. It is important to remember that anytime you use urethane, the metal must be primed to guarantee bonding. Run water in this area to verify the leak and also the fix. On the estate wagon, a customer may complain of water or a sloshing noise in the spare tire compartment. The compartment may have water in it. If there's a gap in the last few inches of the ENDGATE weather strip, water can seep behind the weather strip. But if you look closer, you can see we have 4 layers of sheet metal spot welded together. In extreme conditions, water can seep in through the metal layers and ends up in the spare tire compartment. Water could collect here if the drain hole is plugged. Seal the 4 layers of spot welded seam with thumb grade sealer and then apply butyl tape. We started applying sealer to make the transition smoother in February of 1995, then reinstall the ENDGATE weather strip. If water has entered the left rear side storage compartment, it may have come from the hinge area. At ENDGATE installation, some adjustment is necessary for a proper fit. These square hinge holes are normally covered, but if the ENDGATE exposes even the smallest fraction of the square hinge hole, water may leak in. If water is in the left rear side storage compartment, inspect the ENDGATE hinges for gaps. If you cannot see a gap, run water on the lower hinge first, watching for leaks. If that is okay, run water on the upper hinge. That tells you which one to seal.
The Knowhow manual contains information on other water leak concerns. Now, we're going to talk about squeaks and rattles. Kathy is Arlington's engineering expert for squeaks and rattles as well.
Well, you know, Chuck, the squeak and rattle part of my job sometimes gives me clues to water leaks. For example, a backlight squeak can also be a water leak. Both could be caused by a void in the backlight urethane. So remember to use all your knowledge when diagnosing the root cause of a concern. This theory can also be applied to wind noise and water leaks as well. Frank Jezek and Morris Himes are my noise busters. Frank will be assisting me today. Our noise buster team believes that a customer's perception of his Roadmaster can be drastically reduced by even one squeak or rattle, even if the car is perfect in every other area. Our customers tell us that their biggest noise complaint comes from the instrument panel as the car is driven on a rough road.
Aren't instrument panel noises difficult to locate?
Well, not really. Once you know where to look, it can be relatively easy. Let's start with the noise caused by the instrument panel brace rattling on the stud mount. The rattle gives the perception that the center of the instrument panel is loose. First, remove the instrument topper pad. Slip a 1-inch length of rubber hose over the stud to provide a cushion for the crossbar brace. Then, reinstall the topper pad. Now let's move on to the doors. Customers may comment on a clanging noise when the front door is closed. When the door is slammed shut, the window regulator motor could vibrate against the door inner sheet metal, producing a clang. Our supplier is now taking care of that by placing a foam patch on the motor. As long as the patch is adhered to the motor in this location, the motor will be isolated from the inner pad. If the noise still exists, you may want to apply a larger piece of foam between the regulator motor and the inner side of the door panel. Let's go on to the rear door rattles. Customers may report hearing a rattle when the rear door is closed. The cause of this rattle is the forward lower glass run channel hitting the upper channel. Beginning with start of production for 95, we have been installing the channel with its lower screw pushed forward in the slot and the upper screw rearward in the hole. As long as you're inside the car with the trim pad off, check for any other rattles that may be repaired by tightening a fastener or removing loose material in the door. Also check the rear glass run channel to assure that the glass is properly seated in the channel. This next noise could be found only on estate wagon second seats. If the lock mechanism and the striker are not perfectly positioned, you will hear a noise when you put your weight against the seat back. The striker must be loosened to be adjusted. Lower the seat back so that the striker just barely clears the trim plate. Then retighten the fasteners. The next area we focused attention on is the ENDGATE, where a tuning fork type noise was heard when closing the ENDGATE. Adding foam blocks restricts the movement of the parts in this area, which is essential for solid sounding door. The ENDGATE window latch release solenoid used to vibrate when the ENDGATE was closed. So mid-1994, we started supporting the solenoid with a block of styrofoam to eliminate the vibration. Also, a rattling noise occurred because the rod was free to move in its clips. At the same time, we added 2 pieces of foam to the ENDGATE. If you see that this foam needs repositioning, be sure to place it correctly, like this one. And that's how we get a quiet ENDGATE.
This is great stuff, Kathy, but tell me, what would you think a technician would find to be a really difficult to diagnose noise?
Well, a tough one would be the windshield reveal or the A-pillar itch. It's most noticeable on rough roads in cold weather. However, it can happen at any time. The customer may report this as an instrument panel noise because of the way the sound travels down the pillar, but it's actually a squeak between the glass and the reveal molding. To verify the problem, drive the car on a rough road and in cold weather if possible. To fix the noise, apply a small amount of lubricant along the windshield and the A-pillar as Frank is showing.
Kathy, sometimes we hear about a driver's door sticking to the weather strip. That can make the door hard to open.
Well, the weather strips are very soft and pliable, so they will easily conform to the shape of the door header. So, on some cars, the rubber and the door sheet metal may tend to stick. If you hear a sticking or a zipping noise when you open the door, spray lubricant on a cloth and wipe it over the weather strip.
This is all great stuff, Kathy. The Roadmaster I drove here was very quiet, not a rattle to be heard. Proof to me, at least, that everyone here is really buckling down for quality.
Well, Chuck, I know a lot of people out there, and they really are building quality into these cars. That's what I'm proud of.
Well, thanks very much, Kathy. You've been a great help to about 12,000 Buick dealership technicians. But don't go away. You'll want to catch Roadmaster Service Concerns Part 2.